Today on Ask the Trainer, I've got a question from Orlando, Florida, and it's a two-part question. The first part is, what does the message valve decoder open circuit mean? And then the second part is, what does the message valve decoder short circuit mean? Okay, well, let's take a look at that first one. The full message on the first one is valve failure, open circuit solenoid, unable to operate this valve. And then the second part is valve failure, short circuit solenoid, unable to open this valve. So unable to open this valve is the key word here. The valve did not operate it. Okay, so let's talk about the open circuit first. So to do that, I'm going to look at a valve decoder here. So let's switch over. So here I've got a two-wire decoder and a two-wire path. My unofficial splices, these are just my training splices. These do not meet the specs of the DBR-Y6s. And then a solenoid that would be attached to a valve. That's all that we're looking at. So this error message does not refer to the two-wire side. It only refers to the solenoid side of the system. So on an open circuit, it could be as simple as a bad splice. So in this case where the splice is disconnected, it can't complete the circuit, so the solenoid's not going to operate. Generally, these messages are about splices. Perhaps it's a bad solenoid. So a solenoid that's failing or that has failed or that's fully corroded and disconnected, it'll throw this message, or if it's disconnected like this. So I always suggest grab your ohm meter, go out and look at the splices and look at the solenoid. That's probably what it's going to be. Now, if you don't have two-wire, here's a different message. So let's set this aside and let's look at conventional wire. So on a conventional wire board, right, we've got a zone wire going out to the valve and then a common wire coming back to the controller. So it's a two-part to complete the circuit. What we've done on a conventional wire board is we've extended this side of the wire path and made it quite long. So everything on a conventional wire system is solenoid side. So if we have an issue, if it says that number 6 throws that same error message, it could be that the station wire going out is broken. It could be that the common wire coming back in is broken. It could be anywhere along that wire path, there could be an issue. Now, if you don't have a zone wire attached to that, so if let's say I don't need 24 zones and I have 22 actually in the field, so these last two have been assigned, as they often come from the factory. If these two are assigned and the controller's checking for a solenoid, it won't find a solenoid and won't find that appropriate resistance, and it'll throw an error message saying there's an open circuit on this one because there is no solenoid attached to that. That's really simple. All you do is go into the controller, find those two serial numbers and unassign those two. It will no longer search for those. Okay, so the second part of the message was, or the question was, a short circuit. So what's a short circuit message on a solenoid? Well, let's come back to this guy. So it could be that the solenoid itself is actually shorting out, right? It could be that there are two wires touching somewhere inside of this and your solenoid's pretty far gone. Or it could be a wiring issue out here. So it could be that someone has miswired these and have those wires touching. So that's the gist of this message. You'll also find another video on this one on YouTube, a tutorial video that has some of the similar information about this one. Our next question for Ask the Trainer comes from Portland, Oregon. And Josh wants to know, one of the controllers on our site has names for zones and programs, but the other controllers don't have those. And I can't figure out how to program that at the controller, how to get those names in at the controller. Well, you don't do that at the controller. You're going to do this through Base Manager. So a couple things on this one. So first, you're going to need a network connection for your controller out in the field. You're going to need a cell modem, an Ethernet connection, Wi-Fi, some other method to connect it to a network. And then your controller has to be connected to Base Manager. So if you got those two things done, great. Let's jump in and look at a screen share on that one. Okay, we're in Base Manager. So I'm going to go to schedules because that was the first thing he asked about, was the names of schedules. So here you can see program 2 and program 3 are named, West Side Turf and East Side Turf. Program 1 is not named. So I'm going to go in and name that. So I'm going to click on that and let it load. So now I've got my program 1 open. And we're going to change the name on it. So first I need to start off by hitting edit, which is in the lower right corner. Click edit. Now I can make changes to it. Now I can come in and change the name of this program. And this one is actually tree bubblers. So we're going to say they're tree bubblers. And let's give it bubblers. And let's say where they are. So we're going to say they're on the west side. And I can also put any other information on there, but that's about all I need. So I'm going to save this one because I'm happy with this. Now, once I've saved this, it's going to sync up with the controller. So right now it's being pushed to the controller real time. Now that the program's saved, I could walk over to the controller, look at it, and I would see that this program is named. Now to change zones, we're going to do that under devices. Now this would be true of our zones or any other device that we have, whether it's a master valve, a moisture sensor, or anything else there like that. So on this one, we're going to go to zones and open that one up. And I'm going to click on the zone that I want to name. So with the zone or device that you want to edit open, we're going to click edit and make those changes. So this is on the tree bubbler program. So we're going to call this a tree bubbler. And I always think it's a good idea to put a little bit more information about the emission device. So in this case, these are bubblers. So I'm going to say that these are two GPM bubblers. Okay. And if there's a particular brand, you might want to put that information in there. If it's a spray head or a rotor head, I like putting the nozzle and the arc type in there as well. Now, when I save this, we can see that our name, Tree Bubblers 2 GPM, is saved in there as well. Have a question for me? Click the link in the description and go to hydropoint.com/askthetrainer to submit your question.